Welcome, guys. My name is Judit László. I'm working as an international business developer. The main field of my expertise is the food and beverage industry. I'm supporting food and beverage producer companies to start or to boost their global sales activity. Beside this, I'm the partner of Global Marketing Associates, and today we have the chance to have a personal interview with the founder and owner of Global Marketing Associates, with Mr. Brian Thomas. Welcome you, Brian, in Budapest.
Thank you, Judith.
It's our pleasure to have you here, and you have visited our beautiful city.
Thank you very much.
Global Marketing Associates is a US-based online marketing agency. Our goal is to provide customized online marketing support to those food and beverage producers who would like to generate more and more leads. Brian is here with me, and in the very beginning, I would like to introduce you to the viewers. You have a very great professional background. As far as I know, you are working in the international global business trade for more than 20 years.
Yes.
And you are active on global level. You have lived in Seoul, Korea, right?
Correct.
You are the principal and founder of Princeton Consulting International. And you are dealing with customized online marketing solutions for 10 years. And you sit on the board of directors of the Bucks County International Trade Council. And beside this, you are the adjunct professor of international business. So personally, I am very proud to have you here. And it's important to highlight that I'm working with Brian's team since 2020. And we have generated nice business stories in the last 2 years. So that's why I joined to become the partner of Global Marketing Associates. My first question is about the global trends you have experienced in the last decade. So what have been changed on global level in terms of international trading?
Well, thanks for the question, Judith, and the introduction. I myself used to export for over 20 years, and about 2 years ago just began to focus completely on helping companies with their international marketing activities. So what I've noticed in the past decade or so is, and even longer than that, is a shift with companies toward using more innovative ways to find buyers. It used to be just trade shows many years ago, and which I went to and still do for that matter. We noticed a shift to more online marketing activities, in particular in the past 2 years when COVID shut down a lot of the trade shows. And I think that trend is not going to go away. I don't think trade shows themselves are going to go away, but I think the use of alternate ways of trying to market your products is here to stay. And that's what we did anyway, because what we do as a business was exactly what I did myself when I was trying to find buyers internationally. And the key was when I was exporting, the only way I made any money is when somebody bought something. So I had to, as quickly as possible, try to identify buyers, begin that entire process, which, as you know, Judith, is a very lengthy process in many cases, but it starts with finding buyers. And to do that, I found some sort of innovative ways early on to use some of the tools that were available then to try to find international buyers. And that's where the business grew from, was actually frontline, firsthand experience. That is probably the biggest trend, I would think, in terms of the marketing aspect of international business. And the rest of it's probably hasn't changed all too much. So you have to get regulatory approvals and packaging change and all those things that are really fun to do. But like I said, in food and beverage, of course, people still need to eat. So that market is that particular market is still going to be very good in terms of growth opportunities. But generally speaking, I would say from a marketing standpoint, it's a shift toward, especially in the past 2 years, shift toward using innovative online, activities to generate leads for your food and beverage company.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And especially the last 2 years forced us to find these innovative sales techniques. And that's why I've also contacted you, because I was there. My goal was to support my partners during the complete lockdown. And what shall I do? There are no trade shows, fairs.
Right.
And okay, but we need business. So that's why these customized online techniques are very helpful. And it's a must have these days to have some kind of new approach on the daily business. Besides the COVID area, here we have another global change of trends in terms of the economy. Mm-hmm. And you've mentioned that the food and beverage industry is such an industry which is a must-have for people because you need to eat.
Yes.
It's the basis of our life.
Yes, correct.
But we are facing a global crisis nowadays. How do you see? What do you experience in the US in terms of, let's say, upcoming or current crisis or challenges in the economy?
Well, I would say there are always challenges. I mean, if you go back throughout, even recent history or even before then, there are always challenges. In the U.S. and in fact worldwide, we have obviously geopolitical challenges which are occurring in the world right now. We have supply chain issues that are tied in somewhat to COVID most recently. Inflation is a big problem now. There are a number of challenges that you have to address, but that's always been the case in international business. If you look throughout, recent and long-term history, the currency fluctuations, exchange rates, and so forth, I would say that my advice to companies would be, even though we have these challenges, the best time to start looking for new buyers internationally is always now. Especially in the food and beverage industry, people need to eat. And a lot of the success stories we've had as a business since I started this full-time marketing part of the business a couple of years ago, all of the success stories are really during the COVID period when all the trade shows were shut down. So it shows you that there are innovative ways to quickly begin to identify buyers. I mean, even though we have a lot of challenges today, there have always been challenges worldwide, and the best way to, I think, address that is to be proactive in your approach in terms of international marketing.
That's why I really like working with you and with your team, because you are very positive. And this is what I'm telling to my partners from time to time, that the international business takes time, takes lots of time. And it's clear that there are changes on international level, but at the end, you have to focus on growth. Okay, it's not obvious what's the desired level of double-digit growth or just moderate growth, but this is the evaluation of the business. And I'm always saying that the continuous lead generation to find new partnerships is very important in the long run.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it all starts with lead generation. And again, as I mentioned before, I'll go back to that. When I was exporting, the only way I made any money is when somebody bought something. So I had to, as quickly as possible, identify potential buyers, begin contacting them to begin the process. So the fastest way I found was through, again, there could be a trade show 6 or 7 months from now. I didn't have time to wait that long. So I had to begin starting that process. As you know, we do pre-trade show marketing as well. Now that trade shows are back, it's a very effective way of doing pre-show marketing. But even if there are no trade shows, or if buyers you're interested in aren't at the show, you can still start right away in a matter of literally 2 or 3 weeks, begin identifying them and contacting them. So I agree, it is the key is to be proactive, because the sooner you start, the sooner you're going to start making your first or repeat sales.
Exactly. This is the case. At this point, may I ask you to introduce global marketing service portfolio in a nutshell? So what are the elements of the services we provide to the food and beverage producers?
Sure. We do a full range of services from, market planning to marketing research, but we really focus on lead generation. And the tools that we use were the same ones, again, I used when I was exporting. We start with building a substantial database of buyers. When I was exporting, I maybe had 2,000 buyers in my portfolio, importers in a certain number of countries. Now we have over 42,000, and we constantly maintain the database and improve the database of potential importers in every category in over 140 countries worldwide, including the US. And the first thing we do is what I did always was we create a customized newsletter. When I was exporting, it was under the brands of the companies I was exporting for. Now now it is under under my own company name, the various brands. Now it's customized for the companies that we're working for as our clients. And we can quickly put that, we have a great team that puts this together. They've been doing this for quite a while now. They're very experienced. We design a customized newsletter, number one. We send them out to our database, and then they can reply back directly to the client if they're interested in getting more information. That's probably the most fundamental. And sending it out to a large database has advantages because you're going to reach buyers you otherwise would not have if you were looking at a smaller database, smaller list. Now, the second thing we do, in addition to the newsletter, is going to be the custom partner search, which is what a lot of consulting companies do. We happen to start with a very large database of buyers to begin with. So we're not looking for food and beverage distributors in general. We already have them. We just go through on a customized approach in a pre-selected country, those buyers we think may be most interested in the company's products. So we combine those two because we found that the more targeted approach sometimes has its advantages, but the broad approach also has advantages, and I'll talk in a moment about examples of that where we get great leads for companies in using both services. We also happen to have a directory. You may have heard of Alibaba, which is a great big food directory, and we love Alibaba because we get a lot of customers from them because I've used it in the past, and it has, I guess it works for some companies, but it could, but we found our directory, foodexportmarket.com, is specifically focused on food and beverage. So 3 ways then we help connect companies: the customized newsletter, number 1, that goes out to our broad database. Number 2, the custom partner search. We pick a pre-selected country and we contact them on a one-by-one basis. And third would be the food export market directory. So all 3 of those combined tend to generate a good number of leads rather quickly, which is also key. We don't have to wait months for this. We can do this in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks. We're generating leads. Primarily, that grew out of what I did myself when I was exporting, and so we think it's an effective way to quickly begin to grow your business, grow your export business.
Thank you for the summary. It was great to hear it as a whole, and I have also my own experience with your services because I have 3 partner companies who have used these kind of services in the last 2 years. And I can confirm, so I have also experienced these valuable leads on international levels. So for example, thanks to your services, I've closed businesses in Sweden, Iceland, in Reunion, in Lithuania, and there are lots of valuable, unique distribution agreements in the pipeline, like in Aruba, for example, or in Romania and some other countries. So I could also share my personal, let's say, best success stories, but hereby I would like to ask you to share 1 or maximum great success stories you had in the past with your partners.
Sure. Well, one of the best stories I have, and I use these when I do my sales presentation, so I sort of had the description down. But one of the companies that we worked with was an olive oil company from Spain, and olive oil is a very competitive market, as you probably know. So the international salesperson, we spoke to her. They canceled all of their trade shows. They still haven't been to trade shows actually in the past couple of years. So we ran some. I said, what we can do is help you with the newsletters, with the custom partner search. Again, it's a very competitive market, and the particular client was looking for smaller buyers. So we ran the newsletter and the custom partner search for the first 3 or 4 months. I asked the salesperson, how is it going? Had it made any contacts? And she told me, we are now speaking to importers in 15 different countries. I thought, great. Haven't made any sample sales. Well, she told me we made a couple of sales. What were they? She told me that she sold already 3 containers to an importer in Belgium and a half a container to an importer in the U.S. This is the first 3 or 4 months. I asked the price point per container, 30,000 euros. And she sold about 130,000 US dollars in sales in the first 3 or 4 months with working with us. What I mentioned was that because these are distributors, they repeat buy. So they've already made $130,000 in sales in the first 3 or 4 months. In the next 2 or 3 years, that's probably going to be at least $1 million in sales. So that was the first company I would bring up. A Canadian company also started during the beginning of COVID. They've been with us for 2 years. They made a sale recently to Malaysia from the food export market directory. They made a sale to Vietnam recently as well. U.S. company, last one I'll go over. We had so many leads for them. Now the trade shows are back. I met this individual, a U.S. sweetened condensed milk company. I met him. In this case, we set up our own reply email and Gmail for him. He was going to Anuga, big food show, and then to Winter Fancy Food. I met him in Winter Fancy Food. I could see the actual replies in the Gmail, and some were getting back and saying, hey, I've already contacted you twice. Please get back to me. I saw the international salesperson. He told me, to be honest, I've had so many good leads, I haven't had a chance to follow up with them all yet. So that's an example of where, again, even if trade shows are back, it's still a way to quickly generate leads. And that's the effectiveness of the service. And those are just 3 examples of many. But those, again, are clients, in some cases, that have been with us for over 2 years.
Yeah, and this is the story that even if COVID, let's say, or we hope that this is already behind us, we are facing these global economical changes. So it's for sure that there will be a highlight on the online sales activities, online marketing techniques. And these are great case studies that how quickly we can generate valuable leads. And this is not only about generating valuable leads, but also closing business.
Yes.
And if we are saying about that it is possible to close a business within, let's say, 2, 3, or 4 months, this is a very, very great period of time, because most of the time I'm saying that closing a business on international level, it takes lots of time.
Correct.
And you need to take lots of efforts, and it's a very tough procedure. So that's why I'm happy that you have shared these nice stories.
And you do a great job, Judith. I know working with the clients that you work with, because they need somebody to do the follow-up, and you're great with that in terms of regulatory approval and agreements and so forth, and that's very important. And I always tell companies I speak to, we don't guarantee sales. Nobody guarantees sales, but I'll guarantee you we'll get you in front of more clients consistently on a cost-effective basis than any other system. That's what we focus on, is lead generation. And you're absolutely right. It requires a lot of follow-up, but the sooner you start, the sooner you're going to realize those first sales.
Thank you very much, Brian. I really enjoyed this talk with you. And I'm very happy that we have started the cooperation, and I'm sure that we will be able to support more and more countries, not only in the US, but also on European level, to enhance the global trade. So thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much, Judith. And it's been great working with you, and I look forward to working with you in the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you.